Two mega powers meeting here tonight.
The mega powers, brother.
The mega powers, yeah. Mega powers, yeah.
Hello, wrestling fans. This is Magic J with the Hip Hop Original Scanduce, and we are the Mega
Powers. Yeah, we're gonna have to get this handshake thing going as well, man. Tay, you got the handshake on lock yet?
All right.
Mega Powers.
Yeah, so this is indeed episode number 8, and we are joined by a special guest, an amazing young lady who has an incredible knowledge of the wrestling business. And she joins me on the Kick Out podcast occasionally. She is an OG of the Kick Out podcast. Last week we had Skillet, one of the founding members. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce and welcome to the Mega Powers podcast, the one and only Tay. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Doing well.
Fantastic. So the opening question we always ask our guests, Tay, how did you find your way into wrestling? Where did it start for you?
So wrestling started for me when I was about 11 or 12. So basically, my mum was so sick of wrestling. My brother used to watch wrestling all the time, and my mum was sick of it. So I had a TV in my room, and my brother was like, you know what? I'm going to get Sky, and I'm going to watch wrestling in your room. I was like, I'm young, I don't care. I'm like, sure, whatever. So he used to put on wrestling. We used to watch Raw, and I wasn't paying attention to it at all until I saw a promo by The Rock, and I was hooked. That was it. I was like, nah, I'm watching this every time it comes on. I'm watching Raw. Then I used to watch Heat on Channel 4. When Royal Rumble, the pay-per-views used to come on Sunday night, and I'm like, I got school tomorrow. I don't care. I'm watching it. So that's how it started.
Amazing. So you mentioned The Rock. Like, who was your early favorite wrestlers, and were there any standout matches or pay-per-views that you can remember as a young person growing up?
Yeah. So it was I can't remember which specific promo it was, but it was a promo before Undertaker came out as Badass. He came out on the bike. So it was just before that match. And I was kind of like, oh, okay. He's really energetic. And I was like, all right, I'm in it. And then Undertaker came out, and I was like, who is this big dude riding a motorcycle? I was like, no, this is crazy. I'm watching this forever. So I loved The Rock. I loved Undertaker. And I actually kind of liked Mankind at that point as well, when he was coming back and forth. And I hated Triple H. I hated him. I hated the whole McMahon Helmsley faction. So those were the two opposing sides. That was it.
So you didn't like DX?
I liked Road Dogg, and that was it.
Road, with the mic skills. Yeah. Bad man.
The rest of them, I was like, I don't like you because you don't like The Rock. So how can I like you? I've been loyal to him.
Loyal to The Rock. And is that inside and outside of the wrestling business? Did you follow his film career as well, or?
Yeah, of course. I was there at Scorpion King. I was there.
But that means you would have liked my comment what I said about The Rock a couple of weeks ago.
Oh no, what did you say?
Why is he coming back to SmackDown now, and he could have came back when his family was basically running WWE, and now they don't have no title set for one. He wants to come for ratings. So I dissed him for that. It's on the Mega Powers TV on Instagram.
All right, but the man
you see this kind of shit and reason, but she wants to slap me already. She wants to give me the elbow and all sorts.
Yeah. Now, what I will say about that is the man's busy. He'll come. If he has to come, he's gonna come because the ratings are down.
Just retire. You're dead done.
Wow. Rock can come back anytime he likes.
So when did it become a case of just being a fan of watching wrestling to I guess wanting to know more about what goes on behind the scenes, and just wanted to become more involved with wrestling?
Yeah, so I watched it when I was younger, I watched it for a little while, and I stopped watching it around just after the invasion, and I got really bored of it. So I stopped watching it for a little while, maybe like 5 or 6 years. And then I kind of came back to it around 2013. And I was like, all right, this seems interesting again, even though like Brock Lesnar had gone and I think he was just coming back, or maybe he came back like a few years later.
Mhm.
And that's because I was older. I was like, well, obviously I know this is choreographed, not fake, choreographed now.
Mm.
And it just kind of intrigued me as to like how they put together matches, how they make a good match work, like the story behind the match, how they build it, and then how they just make the ending magic.
Mm.
So yeah, that's when I really was like, no, I wanna know more about this. Yeah.
Wow. So when did you first have an opportunity to actually see wrestling live?
What's my first one? So my first wrestling match I went to wasn't actually a WWE one, and I think it was one that Jeff Jarrett's old promotion. I think it was a GFW or something like that.
Oh,
Global Force.
Global, yeah. And it was at a random place. I'm sure it was in East London somewhere, just like one random hall. And I was like, oh, I'll just go. My friend was like, oh, there's going to be wrestling there. I was like, all right, I'll just go. And I was like, do you know what? This crowd is kind of lit. Like it's so different being in the crowd. And especially because that was independent, like they were proper independent people there. Just being there. And I was like, this is a different type of energy to me watching it on TV and me being there. And I was like, no, I have to go to a WWE one.
Mm. Wow. And what was the first WWE event that you attended?
I think it was just a random SmackDown in London. And I was like, okay, like this is what it feels like. And it was weird because at first you're like, hold on, where's the commentary? There's no one talking. This feels weird.
Yeah, watching it and hearing the commentary.
Yeah.
Talking,
and I'm like, oh, okay. So we're getting involved in the crowd. And I was like, cool, I'm gonna get involved then. You gotta do the chants and all of that stuff. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then you see the choreography a bit more just because it's live in front of your face as well. But that's also good because then you see how much effort that they're actually putting into it. On the TV, it's like, you know, they're doing good. But when you're seeing them live and you're like, no, Ricochet is actually jumping from there to there. Like,
wow.
It's a whole different, like, you gain like a different perspective and you gain more respect for them as athletes.
Right. That's incredible. Wow. So you basically got the blessing of going to the States for WrestleMania. Now, how did your relationship with the Kickout team begin, and how did you manage to get that connection to fly and meet all these wrestlers and live the dream?
Living the dream. Yeah. So I met Skillet through one of my friends, and she was like, she likes wrestling too. And she said to him, like, oh, she likes wrestling too. And he saw me at, I think it was it might have been the WWE pay-per-view. I think it might have been a live, that one that I went to. He saw me there and he was like, oh, was you there? He's like, oh, okay, I'll link up with you soon. He's like, I'll get you on the podcast. And I was like, yeah, cool. So I went on the podcast one day and they were happy with it. Him and Ace were happy with it. I was like, all right, cool. It's like, oh, we'll let you know if you can come again, just let us know. And I was like, cool. So I messaged him next week. I was like, I'm around the corner. Like, I'm ready to come on the podcast again. And they're like, cool. And then Skillet was just like, one day he's like, do you just want to be part of the podcast? And I was like, yeah, yeah, I do. So that's how that happened. And then because both of them usually, well, the first time, do you know what? That is a whole lie. Let me rewind that back. You asked me the first wrestling event I went to. The first time I went to a WWE event was, I'm trying to remember what WrestleMania it was. It was WrestleMania in New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
And that's when I saw Ace there. So that was one that I just went with randomly with my friend. And I was like, I'm going. It was WrestleMania 29. I want to say 29, 20 or 29.
Wow.
And that's where I saw Ace. And then I saw Skillet at another event afterwards. So that was the first one I went to. And that one,
And you just randomly bumped into Ace.
Yeah, I just saw Ace. I was walking about. See, what I did was I got floor seats, yeah, but I got back floor seats. So they were the cheap floor seats. But when you're at WrestleMania, you don't need to get in the front. You get the back floor seats, and when everyone stands up, you just run and find a chair. So every time everyone sat up, I would run forward, and I'm like, right, I found a chair and I'll sit down. I just hope someone doesn't come with their drink to come back. So every time I was inching forward, I ran past, and Ace was like, "Date," and I'm like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" He's like, yeah, I come to this all the time. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." So anyway, I managed to get myself like 3 rows back from the front, sitting next to some random Irish guy. So I just plunked myself there. So I saw the match with The Rock and John Cena. I think it was their second WrestleMania one. That was my first WWE experience.
Wow. See that? And you saw him lose.
I know. I was mad. I was so mad. I remember I was like, nah, what? John Cena? Nah. I was so upset.
So you're the GOAT, innit? Or should I say the GOAT?
Well,
female black wrestling.
Wow, that's amazing. That's such a cool story, man. And that fills me with hope now. Like, you know, because me and Magic J are gonna we're aiming to make the pilgrimage to WrestleMania 40. Now I can think to myself, yeah, let's get some cheap floor seats.
Cheap floor seats at the back and just weave your way in.
Yeah.
That was the first time I saw Roman Reigns as well. And I didn't know who he was, but I was like, I'm gonna like this guy soon. Because I ran around when they were coming down with their Shield entrance. Yeah. I was doing the rounds. I was like, I'm going to see everyone up close as I possibly can. And because I'm small, I can nip through them crowds. It was fun.
Wicked.
Oh, so that's why they never noticed you coming to the front.
That's amazing. So to jump forward a little bit, so you've gone from seeing them at WrestleMania to interviewing them on the red carpet. Now, how did that happen?
So Ace and Skillet they were being told that they could go to WrestleMania. I was like, well, if you can bring me along, let me know. So it was getting up real close, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not going, it's fine. And I think it might have been maybe like 2 weeks before something. So it was like, do you know what? Like, if you can get here, we can deal with everything else. You can come to the WrestleMania things before, and we can do interviews and stuff. I was like, say no more. I am there. I don't care what I have to do, what I have to try work. I'm coming. So yeah, I think, what was the first one we went to? So I've been to New Orleans. I went back to Jersey again. I think those are the 2 I went to. So I think this one was in New Orleans. And yeah, it was amazing. So we went you do these like press junkets, and basically you're all in a room, and we were at the international media table with just the general people that you see on the scene. And then they were like, yep, so we're going to bring the wrestlers in. And I can remember just thinking like, oh, this is going to be cool. And then I just saw everyone. I was like, oh my God, I'm actually here. And I'm actually trying to interview them. And I was like, right, I don't even know what questions I'm going to ask now. I was like, I'm just going to have to wing it, because we did not prepare not one question. So anyone was just like, right, who is this person? Cool, I'm just going to have to remember matches and then just ask them something. So yeah, it was cool. I think the best interviewing platform, because you have the media junkets, but then you do Hall of Fame, which they don't do. I don't think they do it like they did before. Mm-hmm. So before, they used to have like the red carpet, and you would basically be on the WrestleMania stage, with them with the red carpet, and you would be interviewing them as they come down the red carpet. Mm-hmm. So you'd be on the stage. So I didn't dress up, but I had to look a bit better than usual. And then I would just literally, as I am, nippy as I am, I'll be tapping the guy, be like, I want that person next. Bring them to me after they finish the interview.
Dope.
Yeah, that was one of the best ones.
Wow. So out of all the wrestlers that you met, who really, I mean, obviously I'm assuming you're going to say Roman Reigns, but who was the wrestler that really stood out for you, and why?
Do you know what? It actually wasn't Roman Reigns, because I didn't get to interview Roman Reigns. Ace and Skillet interviewed Roman Reigns, so I was just there with the camera for that one. I think you know what? There'll be three that stand out to me. There was Ali, and I think that was the second one I did, and he was so cool because he'd just come up. I think he'd just come up to the main roster, or he was on NXT still. I can't remember which, but he was just so cool and so chill, and he just like answered all our questions. He was just like you could see he like genuinely wanted to be there, and he was so happy to be around like the media people and just answering questions. So I felt like he was
so
really
funny
cool.
because I heard that he's really a cool guy in person.
Yeah. He was like genuine guy.
Yeah.
Genuine guy. The second one, I say first and second place are tied. One of them was Jeff Hardy. And I nearly lost my shit because I was like, oh my God, I love Jeff Hardy. I love Jeff Hardy. Yeah. I love Jeff Hardy. So I saw him there and I actually like gripped Skillet and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I was like, I don't know if I can do this interview. He's like, no, you'll be fine. I was like, okay, cool. So we've gone up and then I was like, so Jeff, and Skillet's like, Skillet's like frozen, like, oh shit. And I'm like, I guess it's just me, like, so, and like, we're just like going back and forth. And it was such, again, another genuine cool guy. And he was just like lovely to be around. Even like after the interview, I was like, oh, like, I loved you when I was younger. And he was like, oh yeah, cool, man. Like, he's just such a mellow guy.
Wow.
And the other tied place was Lita. And that's because I absolutely loved Lita when I was younger as well. So that was one that I had to make sure I had an interview with her, and that was at Hall of Fame. And it was really funny because Lita was there, and then Matt Hardy came just afterwards with Rebby, his wife, and you could see Rebby was like, "We're not going there." Like someone had to go in front of them. Like she was not fucking around with Lita still to that day.
Wow. You should have said delete.
She was giving Lita evils, but Lita, again, cool. I loved that interview. That was, for me, that was like a moment because I was like, out of all the women, when I was younger, out of all the women, I was like, because I was quite a tomboy and it was all like the bra and panties matches. I wasn't interested in none of that. Obviously, that was for the guys. And then Lita came, okay, she had a thong on, but it was like cargo pants, little vest. And I was like, that's the woman I want to see. I don't want to see.
She was copying a Leah, man. She was like a Leah for wrestling.
Ooh, that's an interesting.
The top and the sweating a bit. That's like a Leah, isn't it?
Yeah.
I hear you.
It could be right. So in terms of like iconic women wrestlers, it was Lita for you. You would say. So you're more of a Lita over a Trish person, yeah?
Yeah. I was definitely a Lita over Trish. I just wasn't interested in the girly girl thing. I'm sure you can understand because I like
she said
Love that. Wow. So I mean, obviously that was your first Mania. So next time round you was a lot more confident, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I was calling people over by name, like, you come here. I'm interviewing, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, it was good. Because you get used to kind of how they want you to kind of act as well. They were like, you can't ask certain questions. We know what to ask and stuff. And then you know that people are going to go around they'll go around to specific tables. And so when they come in, they'll go to you. And usually because with the international table, we get the last when people are tired. So you have to make it a bit more interesting and not just the genuine questions like, how are you feeling for your match? That's exercise.
Mediocre. You have to be.
Yeah. Just like, I can't remember. One of the questions I asked, I can't remember what was his name. Gallagher, the British guy with the umbrella.
Yeah.
I was just like, right. So if you was in DX, who would be the rest of your DX members? He's like, that's a really interesting question. You know what? Let me think about this. And that's the kind of interviews I like to do. I don't want to ask like just standard basic questions. I'll try and think of something a little bit different, just to give the listeners something else to hear.
That's really fascinating. One thing that Skillet mentioned last week was that for a very long time, like him and Ace were like literally the only black people in the media room. Like, did you feel that when you was out there, and what was that experience like?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Literally the only black people in the media room. And then I was the only black woman in the media room, and probably for a short time, the only woman. I think
Wow.
the first time I wasn't sure. Actually, no, there was. So Finn Balor's wife now, she was there because she was in media. And there was another woman that she used to do interviews with. And I think it was literally just us three.
Wow.
And
So
then it
was that quite intimidating, or was it like, what was that like?
Not really. For me, I found it quite liberating because then I'm the one who stands out. Like, I'm the black woman in the room. So I'm like, you'd always have like a WWE representative there that would bring people to the media table. So I'm just like, all right, get me this person. I just speak to them because I'm going to stand out to them. All right, these are people that I want to interview. Can you get them around to our table? It's like, oh, I don't know if they're going to come onto the table. Are you really going to do me like that? Are you really? Like, if I'm going to be the person standing out, I'm going to stand out.
Wow. That's amazing. So I mean, so as time's progressed, we've seen obviously the integration of more females behind the scenes and in the media. I mean, what more do you think needs to be done, and where are they dropping the ball at the moment?
I think that's difficult. I think, and because I mainly watch WWE, I think they've come leaps and bounds in the last few years. Putting women on main events, not just on Raw and SmackDown, and in pay-per-views as well. They've come far from their 2-minute matches. They're actually investing in women. They're actually trying to make them stars, and they're trying to build a proper women's roster. I think where that falls flat is I would say that there's probably some people backstage that probably still don't believe in that. And they probably still don't believe that women deserve to be main eventers, to be at the top of the card. So there are times where I see like, yeah, the women are being pushed and they're being pushed well, and then it kind of just pulls back a little bit. And they get like, oh, we remember you now, like come back. It was kind of like, so when the women's tag team championship belts first came out, it's like, okay, this could be good because now we've got something else for the women to fight for. Not everyone's vying for the same spot, and you can stack a good women's roster like that. And then after a while, it just, after the Iconics, and then it came to Sasha and Naomi, and it was just like, where's the storyline going? Like you're forgetting completely about this belt. Like this means so much to women.
It went shit.
Yeah, like this could mean so much. Because now you would have 3 belts, so you can have you can have like the giant women, the small women, the athletic women, the same way that you have that on the men, like with the men's side. You can have all different types of women, and they're going for either the championship belts or the tag team belts. And it kind of just got lost again. I see that they were trying to pick it back up again, but even still now, it's kind of like you still need to do some work with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think they should do? If I was to give you the booking pen right now, yeah, how would you like improve the women's division like to where it should be right now?
Oh, you're asking a question here. I'm not the booker. That's Skillet.
So if you was the Stephanie McMahon of the Sisters Revolution.
Do you know what I would do? I would, like I was saying with the tag team belts, you need to build actual tag teams. Don't just put 2 people together that are just, all right, you and you come together. Now you're a tag team. All right, 2 weeks later, actually, no, you go, you cut. Like, it's just too in and out. You just need real tag teams. Like, build them from the start as that is it. I'm sorry. And then you'll have an amazing tag team section of women, and then the women that go for the championship. And then we know WWE, after a while, they're still going to try and split them because they do that all the time. But at least you've got like women that properly know each other. They know their moves. It's fluid. Yeah. So that the match doesn't look disjointed. One of the things I hate, and the guy you know from the podcast, is when there's a tag team, but there's 2 different music. One comes out to their music, one comes out to their music. I'm like, that's not a tag team. That is not a tag team. Like, why are you just putting 2 people together? Why? Where is your music? You're a team. There's one song. That's it.
That's very true. That's very true, man. So about 5 years ago, the WWE gave us their first ever all-female pay-per-view, which was called Evolution. And it was, and to be honest with you, when I watched it, I thought it was pretty good. But I guess the powers that be thought it was a flop, and we've not had another one since. I mean, do you think they're due to do for another one, or what do you think in regards to that?
You know what? I'd actually say no. Only because I just don't think it's necessary, and not because I'm against it. I feel like they do well mixed with men as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't need to segregate women and be like, this is a women's only thing. Like, you have promotions that do that. You've got WOW, Women of Wrestling. That's their thing. WWE don't need to tread on people's toes. Like, you've got a good thing and stick with the stuff that you know, mix it up. I love like Judgment Day when you have Rhea Ripley and the guys as well. Do you know what I mean? Just keep it like that.
Yeah, that's dope. All right. Do you in terms of, you mentioned WOW Women's Wrestling, do you follow the women's divisions in any other promotions, or do you keep an eye on what's going on?
I look from afar.
Okay.
Get too involved just because I genuinely do not have the time to. I would love to, but I genuinely don't have the time to. So I kind of just like scope out a few like independents, mainly from other people's wrestling Instagram pages. But like I do look out for it. Yeah.
Wow, that's dope. Okay, cool. So in terms of the current product, you said you haven't been fully up to date with the pay-per-views, but I mean, are you sort of up to date with the storylines or anything that's happening in WWE at the moment?
I mean, I'm getting there. I know roughly what's going on. Like, if there's anything like detailed, I probably don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So is there anything that you're really like happy about at the moment, like post Mania, or anything that you are not happy about right now?
I'm kind of just waiting to see what they're doing with the Usos.
Okay.
I'm just kind of just like, where are we going with this? Like, how I understand that they're trying to draw it out, and they're probably going to try and draw it out until Royal Rumble or something, so that they can then start their WrestleMania angle. But I'm still kind of like, all right, Jimmy's just all right. He's with Solo. I get that. Jay, what are you doing, bro? Like, what? I don't know. So I'm just
right, because I remember you are quite a big Uso fan, because you've got the Uso t-shirt and that. So I mean, have you been following the Bloodline storyline, and what do you think of it? And let's make a prediction. How do you think it's going to end?
You know what? No, I absolutely love the Bloodline storyline. I haven't, like I said, I haven't kept up to date, so I don't know what they specifically are doing. Like, so I know that there's Jay's over there, Jimmy's over here, Solo, Roman Reigns comes every now and again, and stuff happens. But the Bloodline storyline from before has been phenomenal. Like, it's been great storytelling, and I love that they didn't just shut it down at WrestleMania and was like, "Yep, Cody's the winner," and we are disbanded. Like I was saying when we were at the watch party, I was like, if the Usos lose, Roman's keeping that belt. Like, you can't just ditch that storyline there. It would have been a massive loss. You would have lost a big hole in like SmackDown, even probably maybe even spill over to Raw. So I love the long game that they're playing with that. I love the long game, but I just want them to do a bit more. I think they're trying to build Jay up so he can actually be someone like a force to reckon with Roman, against Roman, because at the moment you probably won't be that believable if he beats him. So I guess that's what they're doing now, and that's why he's kind of on his own, just being main event Jay.
Right. But how do you think it should end?
I mean, Jay has to beat him. It just has to be Jay.
Really?
Jay has to beat him at WrestleMania. It has to be Jay.
Okay. Do you think it needs to involve The Rock? Because I don't know if you know the latest on NXT. I mean, Jay, you might know this. The faction that Rock's daughter was in, the leader of that faction released her. So it's likely she might show up on Friday. So if they start involving Rock's daughter, then there's a possibility it might bring The Rock back for WrestleMania 40.
And also she's upset from what's happening with the Bloodline. There was a news article out, and she said she's upset with the bloodline practically breaking up.
I
So
hear it. Yeah.
as what Gan said, there could be a little twist.
I think it would be a good twist, and it would help. It would help lengthen the storyline as well. Like getting to WrestleMania, it's not going to be because you've got that 3 months. It's going to be a bit boring if it's just like Jay Usos, Roman Reigns. Yeah. Now we're arguing. Now I want the belt. So if you bring her in, then that's great. It brings a nice little, an extra bit to the story, because now you've got Solo. You've got, I can't remember what her actual name is in NXT, but her name's Simone, right? Her real name is Simone or something.
Yeah, I think she's Ava Raine.
That's it, Ava Raine.
Yes,
bring her in, yeah. And then she's like, listen, actually, my dad is tribal chief, not you. So bring that in.
Yeah.
Wow. So
you got Nia Jax who can come to the family as well.
Oh, Nia Jax as well.
It's a whole Samoan dynasty.
That's what I'm saying. She's using Yokozuna's move now, but she's just slapping a bitch in the face now.
Horrible. It's horrible. The way she does it as well. She's just dropping on people, mashing them up as well, man. She ain't even performing the move safely.
But so, she never does, though. We know this. She is not a safe wrestler. She never has been.
Wow. So the pieces are coming together. Like, you know, I think the great thing about the storyline is kind of elevated everybody. You know, everybody's definitely on a higher level now, you know, and obviously there's like Umanga's son and other family members that are around and free agents that all might show up. So, yeah. You know,
well, you have to give it to Rikishi for the family, though, because remember Rikishi, he's got his wrestling school with, I think he's his uncle or something like that, or one of the other part of the family, and they trained a lot of people, even someone who won over the weekend, Mr. Whoop That Trick. Whoop That Trick came from his camp, his wrestling school. So you never know what could happen, you know what I mean? So more Samoan
dynasty
might come.
See, that's interesting. That's very interesting. So basically, Tay, you're predicting that main event Jey Uso is going to be the one to pin Roman Reigns, become the new tribal chief, and end the bloodline story.
Yep, that's going to be him. That's his destiny.
I don't think bloodline will end. I don't think bloodline will end.
It can carry on, but it's going to be him at the top. Roman Reigns needs a little bit of a break. He's going to go. He's going to do his thing outside. He's going to, do the same thing that The Rock and Cena did. He's going to go try stuff outside, come back, try stuff, come back. To build his own future. He's had his time. I say that loosely. He's had his time at the top.
They're going to be like what they're going to put you like what Lesnar does.
Yeah.
Lesnar, come back now and then, and everyone.
Yeah.
And to be honest, who doesn't want that? That is like career defining when you know that I can go away for 9 months. I can come back for 1 month. Everyone's going to love me. I'm going to get paid. And then I'm gone.
That's the life, man. That is absolutely the life, you know. So yeah, that's amazing. So in terms of obviously the things you've accomplished so far, you know, do you have any aspirations of going further in wrestling media, or even, you know, doing a bit of wrestling yourself?
So I remember at one point I did want to be a wrestler. Unfortunately, I have terrible knees. That meant that I would never ever be able to do that kind of stuff.
Don't worry, darling. I've got problems myself. So, you know, there's a wrestling school near me in North London here, right? There's one in Walthamstow. Don't worry, we're looking to go up there so we can drag you with us and film it and participate.
I'll take a look from the side just to light bumps.
Light bumps. Wow. So okay. So maybe being like a manager or interviewee, like the next Renee Young, or
I could do all of that. That's cool. That would be good to do.
I could see her being a manager like Prince Nana in AEW.
Wow. Just coming out and doing the nene or the tay. Wow.
or should be whipping that nene.
Cool, man. That's see. Look, man, it's the possibilities are
Yeah.
there. The possibilities are there.
All
Wow.
sorts in wrestling. All sorts.
Wow. See, that's amazing, man. So yeah, so that's the introduction to Tay. You know, obviously been an amazing guest, and you know, you're gonna join us for episode number 9, where we're gonna break down some of the happenings of what's happening in WWE and AEW. You know, but you said you don't watch much of AEW.
Not that much.
You need to get with the times. Get with the times.
And
Get rid of
Elite.
Oh,
I need to. I need
Team
to.
Elite.
I keep saying I need to, but like my week is
Come
packed.
on, Team Elite.
yeah.
Oh,
See?
my family, Young Bucks and all them guys.
Yeah, I know what that's like, man. You know, it's sometimes I just stick to the YouTube clips, man, and just get the little condensed version of what's been happening. You know,
Highlights.
On Instagram, be like, oh, okay, cool, done. Yeah, that's it. That's what I have time for.
amazing. So if the people want to reach you, how can they reach you? Is it at
So you can reach me at the Kick Out Podcast, to be fair, because my own profile is very private. So the Kick Out Podcast, that's on Instagram, and that's where I am.
That's incredible, man. All right, well, salute all the watchers and people that want to jump in the comment section with any questions, and we'll be back with the amazing Tay for episode number 9 of the Kick Out Podcast. Not the Kick Out Podcast, the Mega Powers.
2 mega powers meeting here tonight.
The Mega Powers, brother.
The mega powers, yeah. Mega powers.